Be honest with ourselves. As our time in quarantine has continued, maybe you feel like you're at your wit's end, and it takes a lot less these days to just be irritated with something or even someone.
So the question is, how can you snap out of it more quickly? Lisa Lichtenstein, licensed marriage and family therapist, joining us now with some great advice. As always, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Lisa, how do we press the reset button on those reactive feelings, especially if we start feeling anxious thoughts and we can't seem to get out of that mindset? They just keep going and going. What are we supposed to do?
Yes, so basically the obsessive thinking or spiraling with the same sort of stressful or negative thinking is pretty common. So what I like to suggest is that people start training themselves to differentiate between false beliefs versus truths. So you imagine taking a piece of paper and drawing a vertical line down the middle of it. On the left upper top of the sheet, you write down false beliefs, and then the right, you write down truths. So number one, false beliefs, for example, you can say something like, oh my God, the quarantine is never going to end and I'm so bored. And then for truths, you replace that thought with, the quarantine is slowly decreasing and our freedom is slowly increasing. So that with training, eventually those false beliefs or obsessive thoughts will be starting to be replaced with the truths with a positive flair.
I have another question for you too, in kind of this regard on the reset. We all are trying to talk with our family and our friends, and everyone has different opinions about what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. I can't believe you're doing this. Why aren't you doing that? And I feel like you need to sometimes try to reset that conversation. How can you try to make that a positive change for the people you're communicating with during these times?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so many variables and there's so many different needs out there. So I think, the idea is having conversations that remove or eliminate blame.
Okay.
And instead, really trying to, put out what we think might be safest and best. And if we phrase it in the we're sort of eliminating a power struggle potential and saying, well, for example, I feel safest if I go out, but keep 10 feet rather than 6 because of X, Y, and Z. And if another person, we don't necessarily have to agree with each other, but I think the main point is understanding and respecting other people's point of view. Even if someone, for example, is doing something that you feel really offended by, you're going to get a very different reaction if you're blaming and saying something like, oh my God, I can't believe you would do that, versus, wow, well, that makes me a little concerned because I'm afraid that you might get sick, or have you thought about this? What are your thoughts? So to keep it more conversational and eliminate blame, that kind of style.
That's good stuff. Okay, Dr. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Have a great day.
My pleasure. You too.